Hey everybody, to Cap and Trade. I'm your host, Texans Cap. A little parking lot pregame chat like we like to do on Sundays before when we're home. So we're here ready for Ravens versus the Texans. First things first, the inactives just came out. A little change over from what the reported inactives were going to be. So it looks like Deontay Johnson will not make his debut today, which was not a surprise to me. I was kind of shocked when the rumor was floating around that he wasn't going to be inactive, but or active. But that's just too much turnaround time for that. So Deontay Johnson not active. He is inactive today. Cade Stover will be active. Quick turnaround from him after the appendectomy. So it's great to see him back having a full slate of tight ends today with Irv Smith, Dalton Schultz, and Cade Stover. No Andrew Beck. He was not elevated. D'Angelo Ross and Jared Wayne were the two elevations, which Jared Wayne makes sense from a number standpoint, wide receiver room after Tank Dell going to IR, but D'Angelo Ross, just they're a little more shorthanded in the secondary, which we'll talk about that here in a second. But this really not a whole lot on the line for Houston today. They're more or less locked into the 4 seed. I think at this point, all the fans are just waiting to see if the Steelers, if they end up losing today and the Ravens win today, then I think there's a chance Houston could end up with playing against the Steelers in the first round of playoffs, which I probably would be the favored matchup instead of playing against the Ravens. So, um, other than that, I mean, it'll be an interesting game because I feel like if the team is doing well, players will stay and the starters will stay in. If this game gets away from them and Baltimore, has a pretty sizable lead halfway through the third quarter, I wouldn't be shocked if you see a lot of starters come off the field earlier than you would think. So I think there's going to be some hesitation there to protect some of the starters from injury. Just kind of depends on how the game's going. If they are winning, if Houston has the lead, then they'll obviously I think they would stay in and try to get the win here. Tripp's asking in the chat, do you think the Ravens are going to win? I think it's going to be hard pressed. I think I think the Ravens. I'd probably put my money on the Ravens at this point. I'd be shocked if uh, if Houston could put this one away. Maybe Houston squeak one out. I just don't know that they're really hurting and really need to turn this offense around. Baltimore has a not very good pass defense, but a very good run defense. So we'll have to wait and see how this goes. Uh, the big thing on the defense with the shuffle, Jimmy Ward went to IR. So we're gonna have to wait and see how this shakes out. But it sounds like Jeff Okudah will man the boundary, and Kamari Lassiter will slide over to the slot. So this will be the third slot cornerback for this team. I think Kamari Lassiter is probably the better play uh versus Miles Bryant. So it's just we're gonna have to wait and see how Okudah does on the boundary. But I think that's going to be the preferred back end on the nickel packages. Next week against Tennessee, I think you might see some more three linebacker formations once the team gets back Aziz Al-Shaair, and then Lassiter would be able to play on the boundary in the three linebacker sets. But I think today, I don't know how much we'll see of three linebacker sets. Depending if Jake Hansen wants to get on the field a little bit, but definitely Lassiter and the nickel, Okudah on the boundary. So that's kind of be something worth monitoring to see how he can do. So, hey, Roll, good to see you, buddy. Um, Woo! They're testing the fireworks already. New pope was elected. But and then on the offensive side, we're gonna see, it's gonna be the Nico Collins show, Joe Mixon show. Hopefully Dalton Schultz will have a little more attention, maybe get some numbers out of him. No Take Dell, obviously. So, you're gonna probably see a lot of Robert Woods. Probably some John Mechie as a wide receiver 2 today. Xavier Hutchinson. Just depending on how what the formation is. All three of them players can play that wide receiver role. Xavier Hutchinson's more of an X, but I think he can man that role. Probably going to see a lot of 2 tight end work today. A lot of pass protection efforts. As for the offensive line, it sounds like Kendrick Green will stay in at right guard, Blake Fisher at right tackle, Titus Howard at left guard, with Jarrett Patterson at center and Tunsil on the blind side. So offensive line formation, whatever number, I can't remember what number we're at, but see how this one. I'm really going to have my eye on Kendrick Green. He started out well last week when he came uh, in the middle of the game, but he started to get a little beat up towards the end. So this Baltimore's got a good interior defensive line. So we'll see how Kendrick Green will be able to man up on that. Um, but the offense of the whole, you just need to see some semblance of a life. You know, the wide receiver screens 4 times last week is negative yards total between the 4 screens. They had one fake wide receiver screen to a running back screen, which got some yards, but it has been bad. And I don't know if it's a spacing issue. I don't know if it's a timing issue, if the ball's coming out too quick. Some of the ball placement on the screens has not been very well done either by CJ Stroud, and I think he'd be happy to admit that to you as well. So just a lot to clean up. This is a good opportunity for this defense to clean those things up. This is a good opportunity to, sorry, still working with this thing. Good opportunity to get some foundational work back in. Get back to the basics. Use this game and Tennessee to find those basics, find those foundations, and get back to what you know will work. Gonna be a lot of passing to run the ball today. So with that, I think I'm gonna go and head in. Go check in upstairs. Say hi to some folks. Get logged in. So make sure you're following. Make sure you're subscribing here. Whoa, where are we going, phone? Sorry about that. Uh, but make sure you're subscribing on X, Texans Cap, at Texans Cap. Still learning this gimbal thing. Apologize for the crazy camera angles. Unfortunately, this thing does not have the dock kit to be able to do face tracking with YouTube Live. But like I said, head upstairs at Texans Cap on X is where we'll be doing a lot of our game chat today. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter over on Substack, capandtrade.football. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Cap and Trade. Continually get some more content going up. So with that, everybody have a wonderful day. Peace.